Hey there, fellow cryptid enthusiasts and ghost story junkies. Welcome to our cross-country road trip through the dark heart of American folklore. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. We're talking about the kind of stories that make you double-check your locks at night. From haunted playgrounds to cursed gold mines, we're diving into the weird and creepy. Grab your flashlights and get ready to explore America's urban legends. Let's do this thing. First stop, Alabama, the heart of Dixie, where sweet tea flows like water and apparently, ghosts of children swing on playground equipment. You know, just your average, everyday playground fun. We're talking about the Dead Children's Playground, a seemingly innocent park in Huntsville, Alabama, that's anything but. Legend has it that this place is haunted by the spirits of children who died tragically in the nearby woods. Some say the swings move on their own, even in the stillest of nights. Others whisper about disembodied laughter echoing through the empty park. And if you're really unlucky, you might even spot the ghostly figures of children playing amongst the shadows. Look, I'm not saying I believe in ghosts, but I'm also not saying I'd be caught dead, no pun intended, hanging out in this playground after dark, especially if those swings start moving on their own. Nope, not happening. Next up, we're heading north, way north, to the land of the midnight sun and terrifying cryptids, Alaska. Enter the Kushtaka, a shape-shifting creature from the folklore of the indigenous Tlingit people. Imagine a creature that can shift between human and otter form at will. The Kushtaka lure victims by mimicking cries for help. Once they have you, things don't end well. I'm sticking to my cozy apartment, far from any otter-human hybrids. Alright folks, buckle up because we're heading to the Superstition Mountains of Arizona, a place where the sun beats down like a blacksmith's hammer. We're talking about the lost Dutchman's gold mine. The story goes that a German prospector, Jacob Waltz, stumbled upon a motherlode of gold back in the 1800s. He kept the location a secret, muttering cryptic clues on his deathbed that have fueled countless treasure hunts ever since. People have gone missing, met with unfortunate accidents, all in pursuit of this legendary gold. Let's get swampy, shall we? We're diving into Arkansas folklore to meet the Boggy Creek Monster, also known as the Fook Monster. This cryptid roams the Fook region, a swampier Bigfoot scaring locals. Sightings surged in the 70s, describing a tall, hairy creature with glowing red eyes. Not what you want to see in the dead of night. Skeptics say it's a misidentified bear or prank. Is it real? You decide. Pack bug spray and a flashlight. California dreamin', here we come. But hold on to your surfboards, kids, because this ain't no beach party. We're venturing into the Santa Lucia Mountains where the fog rolls in thick and the shadows hold secrets. Secrets whispered about beings known as the Dark Watchers. Imagine hiking through the misty peaks and catching a glimpse of a tall, shadowy figure. It's wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a long, dark cloak, and then, just as quickly as it appeared, it's gone. Spooky, right? So next time you're in California, keep your eyes peeled. Welcome to beautiful Colorado. Nestled among the Rocky Mountains sits the Stanley Hotel, the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. This grand hotel, built in 1909, has its own collection of ghost stories. Some guests never checked out. Permanent residents of the ghostly kind, disembodied laughter, phantom children, and spectral piano sounds. I like a good piano bar, but not with a ghost pianist. Lord Dunraven, a former owner, is a famous ghostly resident. He appears in guest rooms, especially on the 4th floor. Room 217 inspired The Shining and is haunted by a former housekeeper. Next up, we're venturing into the woods of Connecticut to a place called Dudleytown. Dudleytown is a ghost town, literally. It's been abandoned since the mid-1800s and it's said to be cursed. The legend goes back to the founding by the Dudley family, who were cursed by King Henry VIII. Residents faced crop failures, strange illnesses, untimely deaths. By the mid-19th century, the town was deserted. Some say they were driven out by something sinister, something lurking in the woods. These days, Dudleytown is a popular spot for paranormal investigators. Is it the residual energy of centuries of misfortune? Or is there something more to the curse of Dudleytown? From abandoned towns, we move on to restless spirits. This time we're in Delaware to delve into the story of the ghost of Mr. Chu. Any ghost named Mr. Chu sounds inherently grumpy. The legend takes place in Dover at the old State House. Mr. Chu, a prominent lawyer, still roams the halls. Some people just can't let go of their jobs, even in the afterlife. Witnesses claim to see Mr. Chu's ghostly figure in the windows. Maybe he's searching for that perfect sandwich recipe. Or maybe he's just mad about the lack of good deli meat in the ghost realm. Who knows? Alright folks, buckle up because we're heading to the Sunshine State. We're diving deep into the murky swamps of Florida to hunt for the elusive Skunk Ape. They call it Skunk Ape for a reason, and it ain't a compliment. Imagine the stench of 1,000 dumpster fires mixed with rotten eggs. Eyewitness accounts describe this creature as a hulking, hairy humanoid like Bigfoot's swampier, less hygienic cousin. So, is the Skunk Ape real? You decide. Hold on to your peaches folks because we're diving headfirst into Lake Lanier, Georgia's own Bermuda Triangle. Sure, on the surface it's all sunshine and boating, but beneath those waves lies a dark history. Created by damming the Chattahoochee River, it flooded towns and cemeteries. Since then, Lake Lanier has seen many drownings and mysterious disappearances. So, if you're ever in Georgia, maybe stick to the hotel pool. Aloha everyone, we're trading swamps and lakes for the sandy beaches and volcanic landscapes of Hawaii. But don't let the paradise fool you because we're about to talk about the Night Marchers. Imagine this. You're strolling along the beach enjoying the sunset when suddenly the air turns cold and you hear the haunting beat of drums in the distance. That's your cue to get the heck out of there because you've just crossed paths with the Night Marchers, a spooky procession of ancient Hawaiian warriors. So, if you hear the drums, show some respect. Lay flat on the ground and hope they mistake you for a beach towel. Alright, buckle up because we're heading to Idaho, home to Massacre Rock State Park. The name doesn't inspire confidence, does it? Legend says it's haunted by Native American children, the water babies. They drowned in the Snake River, and their souls never left. Some say you can hear their laughter echoing through the canyons, and see ghostly figures near the water's edge. So, if you're ever in Idaho, maybe reconsider swimming in the Snake River. Let's talk about Mount Carmel Cemetery. This place has a tragic tale. The Italian Bride. A young Italian woman in her wedding dress was on her way to the church. But fate had other plans. Her carriage was involved in a horrific accident. She didn't survive and never left Mount Carmel Cemetery. People claim to see her wandering, forever mourning. Okay, Indiana, you've got my attention. There's this place called the 100 Steps Cemetery, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Legend has it that this place is crawling with paranormal activity. They say if you climb those steps at night, you might encounter something otherworldly. Some claim to hear disembodied voices whispering their name, while others report seeing shadowy figures at the top of the stairs. Legend has it that if you miscount the steps, something terrible will befall you. Buckle up, we're headed to Iowa, the Hawkeye State. We're diving into Oakland Cemetery, home to the Black Angel. This isn't your average cemetery statue. The Bronze Angel turned black due to a curse. Touch it, and you'll die within 7 years. Kiss it, and you're pushing daisies that day. Visit the Black Angel yourself, but keep your lips to yourself. Next up, we're venturing into the heartland of America, Kansas, to a little town called Alma. Now, Alma might seem like your typical small town, but nestled within its borders lies a truly unsettling landmark, the Devil's Chair. Picture this, a cemetery on a hill shrouded in an eerie silence and smack dab in the middle a set of stone chairs. Sounds innocent enough, right? Wrong. Legend has it the devil himself likes to kick back and relax in one of these bad boys. They say if you're brave or foolish enough to sit in the devil's chair at night, you'll feel an icy chill, hear whispers of unspeakable things, and maybe even encounter the Prince of Darkness himself. Personally, I'd rather take my chances with a dodgy gas station sandwich, but hey, if you're looking for a close encounter of the demonic kind, the devil's chair is waiting. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to dive into the murky waters of Kentucky folklore with the Pope Lick Monster. And trust me, this isn't your friendly neighborhood cryptid. This thing is the stuff of nightmares. Imagine, if you will, a creature with the body of a man, the head of a goat, and a blood-curdling scream that could make a banshee jealous. Oh, and did I mention it supposedly lures people to their deaths on train tracks? Legend has it, the Pope Lick Monster hangs out under the Pope Lick Trestle Bridge, hypnotizing people with his glowing red eyes. And if the train doesn't get you, well, let's just say this monster isn't exactly known for its gentle touch. Now, is it real? Who knows? But there's something undeniably creepy about that old trestle bridge, and I wouldn't want to be caught dead, or alive, anywhere near it. Alright, buckle up, because we're heading down to the swamps of Louisiana, a place so steeped in mystery and lore it makes Salem look like a retirement home. And down in these parts, the creature that keeps folks looking over their shoulders is the Rougarou. Now picture this, you're knee-deep in gator-infested waters, Spanish moss hanging heavy like a bad omen when you hear a distant howl, only it's not quite a wolf, and it's not quite a man. That, my friends, could be the Rougarou. Imagine a werewolf, but instead of sleek fur, it's got mangy, matted hair and glowing red eyes. Oh, and sometimes it's rocking a set of razor-sharp claws. Just a casual Tuesday in the bayou, you know? The legend of the Rougarou is thought to have come over with French settlers back in the day, a Cajun twist on the classic werewolf myth. Some say it's cursed folks who broke Lent, doomed to roam the swamps as a beast for 100 days. Others say it's a more permanent condition, passed down through families like a set of hand-me-down cast-iron pots and pans. Whatever the origin, one thing's for sure. The Rougarou is a creature of the night, lurking in the shadows, ready to snatch up anyone foolish enough to be caught out after dark. So next time you're in Louisiana, maybe stick to beignets and jazz music, and leave the swamp exploration to the professionals. Or, you know, the Rougarou. Alright, buckle up, because we're heading down to the swamps of Louisiana, a place so steeped in mystery and lore it makes Salem look like a retirement home. And down in these parts, the creature that keeps folks looking over their shoulders is the Rougarou. Now picture this, you're knee-deep in gator-infested waters, Spanish moss hanging heavy like a bad omen when you hear a distant howl, only it's not quite a wolf, and it's not quite a man. That, my friends, could be the Rougarou. Imagine a werewolf, but instead of sleek fur, it's got mangy, matted hair and glowing red eyes. Oh, and sometimes it's rocking a set of razor-sharp claws. Just a casual Tuesday in the bayou, you know? The legend of the Rougarou is thought to have come over with French settlers back in the day, a Cajun twist on the classic werewolf myth. Some say it's cursed folks who broke Lent, doomed to roam the swamps as a beast for 100 days. Others say it's a more permanent condition, passed down through families like a set of hand-me-down cast-iron pots and pans. Whatever the origin, one thing's for sure. The Rougarou is a creature of the night, lurking in the shadows, ready to snatch up anyone foolish enough to be caught out after dark. So next time you're in Louisiana, maybe stick to beignets and jazz music, and leave the swamp exploration to the professionals. Or, you know, the Rougarou. From the swamplands of Louisiana, we find ourselves in the chilly north, specifically Maine. Let's talk about the ghost bride of Haynesville Woods. A young woman, on the eve of her wedding day, was left at the altar. Devastated, she fled into the nearby Haynesville Woods. Legend has it her spirit, still in her wedding gown, now wanders the woods. Locals report seeing a ghostly figure in white, forever heartbroken. So, if you find yourself wandering through Haynesville Woods, keep your eyes peeled. Alright folks, we're trading in the swamps and forests for something a little more suburban. That's right, we're headed to Maryland, home of crab cakes, Old Bay seasoning, and apparently a half-goat, half-man hybrid with a penchant for destruction. Meet the Goatman, a cryptid so bizarre, so unsettling it sounds like it was cooked up in a screenwriter's room. As the legend goes, the Goatman is the result of a twisted experiment gone wrong. The result? A monstrous creature, half man, half goat, with a bad attitude and an even worse temper. They say the Goatman escaped the lab, wreaking havoc on the surrounding area. Some dismiss it as folklore, but others claim to have seen the Goatman with their own eyes. So, if you hear strange noises from the Maryland woods, maybe just keep driving. Alright, buckle up buttercups, because we're diving headfirst into Massachusetts, home of clam chowder and apparently a whole lot of paranormal weirdness. We're talking about the Bridgewater Triangle, a 200-square-mile patch of land southeast of Boston. This place has it all. UFO sightings, Bigfoot-like creatures roaming the woods, giant snakes, ghost trucks, you name it. One of the most famous tales involves a police officer who saw a giant red-eyed dog. Now, I'm not saying I believe him, but I wouldn't wander those woods at night. Preferably with a good Wi-Fi connection and a safe distance from any glowing-eyed canines. Is it just tall tales or something truly strange? Who knows? Next up, we're headed to the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, where the urban legend scene takes a decidedly more miniature turn. We're talking about the Nain Rouge, a little red demon dude that's said to be a harbinger of doom. Often described as 3 feet tall with glowing red eyes, he's been spotted around Detroit for centuries, usually before disasters. Maybe he just really likes causing chaos. Either way, I'm not going to be the one to ask him. Alright folks, we're heading north to Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes and apparently at least one terrifying creature that wants to eat your heart. This thing is often described as a towering, emaciated figure with glowing eyes, sharp claws, and an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Imagine being lost in the frozen wilderness, the wind howling through the trees, you turn and see the Wendigo, its eyes burning like hot coals, and you know there's no escaping its icy grip. But is it a terrifying story that perfectly captures the isolation and danger of the wilderness? Absolutely. Alright folks, buckle up because we're heading down to Mississippi, where the humidity is high and the ghost stories are even higher. We're talking about the three-legged lady of Nash Road. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear three-legged, my first thought isn't usually ghost. Drivers have reported seeing a woman, sometimes young, sometimes old, missing a leg, trying to hitch a ride. If you see someone on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, you might be tempted to just keep on trucking. Some say she vanishes into thin air as soon as they pull over. Others claim she gets in the car, chats them up, and then disappears once they reach a specific spot. I'm hitting the gas and not looking back. Some things are better left unexplained. Let's get real for a second. Zombies. Overdone, right? Like, we get it, they're slow, they crave brains, and they're really bad at personal hygiene. But in Missouri, there's a road so haunted, it's called Zombie Road. Yeah, you heard that right. Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to take a trip down Lawler Ford Road. Native American burial grounds, satanic rituals, phantom vehicles, ghostly children, and even a creepy old asylum. People claim to have seen shadow figures, heard disembodied voices, and felt cold, ghostly hands. Car engines mysteriously dying only to start up again later. The sheer volume of creepy tales makes even a skeptic like me wonder. So, if you're ever in Missouri, maybe take a drive down Zombie Road. Just saying. Montana, folks, the land of big skies, majestic mountains, and giant, bloodthirsty wolf dogs. It's just as much a part of Montana's lore as cowboys and cattle ranches. We're talking about the Shunka Warakin, a creature so bizarre, so terrifying, that it makes Bigfoot look like a cuddly teddy bear. The name Shunka Warakin comes from the Lakota Sioux language and roughly translates to carries off dogs. This thing is the stuff of nightmares. Imagine a creature with the body of a wolf, but bigger, badder, and way more ferocious. Thick, shaggy fur, razor-sharp claws, and a nasty set of teeth. Some witnesses claim it has a pronounced hump on its back, similar to a hyena. And some say it walks upright on its hind legs. If you're ever trekking through Montana and see a giant dog-like creature with glowing red eyes, you might want to turn around. Slowly. Alright, buckle up because we're heading to the heartland of America, Nebraska to chase a mysterious orb of light known as the Spooklight. This rural phenomenon has baffled folks for over a century. Legend has it this light, sometimes white, sometimes red, sometimes changing colors like a disco ball, dances across the horizon near Innervale. Theories range from ghosts to UFOs. Some say it's just car headlights reflecting off the fog. It might just be the Spooklight welcoming you to Nebraska folklore. From glowing orbs to mysterious mailboxes, we're staying in the wild, wild west, folks, but ditching the tumbleweeds for the desert landscapes of Nevada, to uncover the secrets of the Black Mailbox. Tucked away on a dusty road near Area 51 sits a lone black mailbox. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, here's the thing. It's attached to nothing. Some say it's a drop-off point for communicating with extraterrestrial life. Others believe it's a government surveillance tool. Whatever the truth may be, the Black Mailbox continues to attract curious visitors. From the desert to the woods we go, trading in our sunscreen for some serious bug spray as we head to the dense forests of New Hampshire. We're talking about the stuff of nightmares, the kind that makes you want to sleep with the lights on and a chainsaw under your bed. The wood devils. These devils are described as hulking, hairy beasts with glowing red eyes, waiting to snatch up unsuspecting hikers and campers. The legend of the wood devils adds a chilling layer to the New Hampshire wilderness, so next time you're hiking through those woods, remember to bring your flashlight. Alright folks, buckle up because we're diving headfirst into the swamps of New Jersey, home of, you guessed it, the Jersey Devil. We're talking bat wings, hooves, a goat head, and a blood-curdling scream. Legend has it this beast was born back in the 1700s to a woman with a dozen kids. Since then it's been blamed for livestock disappearances and freaking people out. Me? I'm just hoping it doesn't develop a taste for podcasters. From the Garden State to the land of enchantment, we're switching gears to a different kind of spooky story. New Mexico, get ready to meet La Llorona. Now if you don't speak Spanish, that translates to the weeping woman, and trust me, you don't want to hear this lady cry. See, La Llorona is the ghost of a woman who, in a fit of grief, drowned her own children. Yeah, not exactly Hallmark movie material. Now, she wanders rivers and waterways, eternally searching for her lost kids and wailing loud enough to wake the dead. Some say she's just a cautionary tale to keep kids away from the water. Others believe she's a real-deal ghost, snatching up any child who gets too close. Honestly, I wouldn't want to stick around to find out. Okay folks, let's trade the desert for some good old-fashioned New York scenery. This time we're heading to Durand-Eastman Park in Rochester, home to the infamous Lady in White. Now you know me, I love a good fashion statement, but this lady takes it to a whole new level. As the story goes, this spectral fashionista roams the park, often near the lake, looking for something. What that something is, nobody really knows. Some say she's searching for a lost loved one, maybe a child or a lover. Others think she's looking for something she lost herself, like her sanity after whatever happened to make her a ghost in the first place. Whatever the reason, if you ever find yourself in Durand-Eastman Park and see a woman in white, maybe offer her directions, or just run the other way, you do you. Buckle up, we're headed to Bladenboro, North Carolina, home of the Beast of Bladenboro. This isn't your typical monster, it was taking down dogs. We're talking hounds, people. The town's in a frenzy. Everyone's got a theory. Some said it was a werewolf, others thought maybe a cougar. The Beast of Bladenboro became a local legend. They even put together a hunting party. To this day, the beast remains a mystery. Let's dive into the waters of North Dakota, which, fun fact, is way more interesting than it sounds. We're talking about the Miniwashitu, a creature of Lakota folklore. The name roughly translates to water monster. The Miniwashitu is often described as serpentine, kind of like a dragon but slimier. Imagine a giant scaly eel with a bad attitude. The Lakota believed it inhabited lakes and rivers, dragging victims to their watery graves. So, next time you're near a body of water, remember the Miniwashitu. Okay, get ready for this one because it's weird even for me. We're headed to Loveland, Ohio to talk about the Loveland Frogmen. Yes, you heard that right. Frogmen, as in humanoid frogs. The story goes that back in 1955, some dude saw 3 frog-like creatures under a bridge. Naturally, he hightailed it out of there. But the Frogmen sightings didn't stop there. A police officer claimed he saw a similar creature hopping across the road. People kept seeing these frogmen for years. After all, stranger things have happened, right? Alright, buckle up buttercups, we're headed to the Sooner State for this one. Oklahoma, land of sprawling plains and, apparently, a whole lot of spooky stories. Today's tale takes us to a little town called Tulsa, where a seemingly normal house earned itself the nickname the Hex House. Catchy, right? I mean, it's no murder hotel, but it gets the job done. The stories about this place are all over the map, from claims of demonic activity to tales of a family driven mad by an evil presence. Some folks even say the house was built on an ancient Indian burial ground. Shocker, I know. Whatever the truth may be, the Hex House in Oklahoma stands as a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest things hide in plain sight, disguised as your average, everyday dwelling. Or maybe it's just a bunch of hooey. You decide. Next stop, the Beaver State. Oregon, known for its craft breweries, lush forests, and a dude wrapped head to toe in bandages. You know, typical Oregon stuff. This particular legend comes to us from Cannon Beach, a beautiful coastal town that apparently has a thing for creepy bandage enthusiasts. They call him the Bandage Man, and nobody seems to know who he is or why he's rocking that look. Some say he's a burn victim, others claim he's a reanimated corpse. Me? I'm placing my bets on it being a publicity stunt gone wrong. Like really wrong. Imagine explaining that one to your publicist. Whatever the Bandage Man's deal is, he's become a local legend, lurking in the shadows and freaking out unsuspecting tourists. So, if you're ever strolling down Cannon Beach and see a bandaged figure approaching, maybe just keep walking. Alright folks, hold on to your horses because we're diving headfirst into the Keystone State with this one. Pennsylvania, home of the Liberty Bell, cheesesteaks, and apparently, a gateway to hell. As one does. Legend has it, tucked away in the woods outside of a town called Hellam Township. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. There's a set of 7 gates that lead straight down to the fiery depths of the underworld. You know, casual weekend trip material. They say if you're brave enough, or dumb enough depending on how you look at it, to walk through all 7 gates, you'll unleash unimaginable horrors upon the world. And probably get a stern talking to from Satan himself. Is it true? Who knows? But personally, I'm not willing to risk it for the biscuit. Besides, I'm pretty sure I left my fireproof jacket in the car. Alright, let's talk Rhode Island. Tiny state, big reputation. For seafood, I guess, but also vampires. We're talking about Mercy Brown, a Rhode Island resident pegged as a vampire in the 1800s. Tuberculosis was ravaging New England, called consumption back then. Mercy's family got hit hard, her mom, siblings, even Mercy herself. When she died in 1892, folks were understandably freaked out. They figured Mercy was a vampire, sucking the life out of her family. So they dug her up, found her body well preserved, probably due to the cold ground, burned her heart, mixed the ashes with water, and made her brother drink it. Spoiler alert, he died anyway. Poor Mercy got a raw deal, even in death. Okay, South Carolina, home of sweet tea, Paula Deen, and apparently a lizard man. You know, just your average everyday swamp monster. Look, I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm not saying I believe it. Let's just say I'm keeping an open mind, and a very large stick, just in case. This scaly cryptid allegedly hangs out in Scape Swamp, which, let's be honest, sounds like the perfect setting for a horror movie. The story goes that back in 1988, some poor guy was driving home late one night when he had a flat tire near the swamp. Classic horror movie setup, right? So, naturally he gets out to change the tire and bam, he's attacked by a 7-foot-tall lizard creature. Now I know what you're thinking. Shane, he probably just saw an alligator and had a few too many beers. But, here's the thing. The guy's car was messed up, there were scratch marks on the roof like something big tried to rip its way in. And he wasn't the only one who claimed to see the lizard man. There were other reports, sightings, the whole 9 yards. Is it a hoax? Maybe. Is it a real-life version of the creature from the Black Lagoon? Possibly. All I know is if I ever break down near Scape Swamp, I'm calling a tow truck and staying in the car. No way am I becoming a lizard man snack. Alright, South Dakota. Land of Mount Rushmore, the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, and Walking Sam. Walking Sam is a tall, shadowy figure, sometimes wearing a hat. He's linked to suicides among young men in the Lakota communities. Some say he appears in dreams before tragedy strikes. The story highlights the importance of mental health awareness. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help. Alright, buckle up Buttercup, because we're headed to Adams, Tennessee, home of the Bell Witch, a story so spooky it would make a banjo play out of tune. This ain't your run-of-the-mill ghost story, folks. This is next-level haunting. Imagine an invisible entity with a serious axe to grind. The Bell Witch made life hell for the Bell family in the early 1800s. Physical assaults, disembodied voices, and general mischief. Sometimes the walls really do have ears, and they might just whisper back. Hold on to your Stetsons, folks, because this next urban legend takes us to the Lone Star State, where things are about to get real weird. We're talking about the Candy Lady of Texas, a tale that's equal parts creepy and confusing. This seemingly sweet old lady roams the streets of Texas, offering homemade treats to unsuspecting children. Sounds harmless enough, right? Well, here's the catch. The candy is often laced with drugs or poison. Yeah, you heard that right. So is the Candy Lady a real threat or just a cautionary tale? I'll let you decide. Alright gang, let's trade in the spooky for the strange as we head to the great state of Utah, home to beautiful landscapes, majestic mountains, and apparently a whole lot of cursed petrified wood. That's right, we're talking about the Escalante Petrified Forest, a place where ancient trees have turned to stone and bad luck seems to follow those who disrespect them. Folks who have taken pieces of petrified wood from the forest have reported all sorts of misfortune, car accidents, illnesses, financial ruin, you name it. So if you ever find yourself wandering through the Escalante Petrified Forest, maybe just admire the scenery and leave the souvenirs behind. Trust me, a cool rock isn't worth tempting fate. Alright, we're headed to Vermont, a place known for its maple syrup and picturesque landscapes. The legend goes that somewhere in the woods of Northfield, Vermont, lurks the Pigman. This dude is said to have the head of a pig and the body of a man. Whatever the origin story, the Pigman is said to wander the woods, freaking out hikers. Honestly, if I saw a Pigman in the woods, I wouldn't stick around to ask about his skincare routine. From pigs in the woods, to bunnies in the, well, also the woods, we find ourselves in Clifton, Virginia. Home to the Bunnyman Bridge, a dude in a bunny suit likes to, well, threaten people. The story goes that back in the 1970s, an escaped mental patient took up residence in the woods near this bridge. He was said to vandalize property and chase people while wielding an axe. Not exactly the Easter Bunny, is he? More like the axe-wielding bunny of your nightmares. So if you see a dude in a bunny suit, maybe just keep driving. Okay, buckle up, because we're about to dive headfirst into one of the weirder legends out there. We're talking about Mel's Hole, a supposed bottomless pit located somewhere in the wilds of Washington state. Now, the exact location of this hole is a secret, guarded more closely than the recipe for Coca-Cola or the identity of the Zodiac Killer. But that hasn't stopped people from speculating about what might be down there. According to the legend, Mel's Hole is not only bottomless, but also has some pretty bizarre properties. People have claimed it emits strange frequencies, messes with electronic equipment, and maybe even holds the key to immortality. I mean, at this point, why not throw in some aliens and Bigfoot while we're at it? Is it a natural phenomenon? A government experiment gone wrong? A portal to another dimension? Honestly, with Mel's Hole, anything is possible. Except finding it, apparently. Buckle up, we're diving into West Virginia folklore with the legend of the Mothman. It's the 1960s, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. People start spotting this creature, massive with glowing red eyes and 10-foot wings, lurking around bridges, abandoned buildings, even chasing cars. A year later, the Silver Bridge collapsed. Coincidence? Government experiment? You decide. Alright, we're heading to Wisconsin, the land of cheese beer, and apparently a creature called the Hodag. Picture this, it's 1893, and some lumberjacks in Rhinelander, Wisconsin claim they stumbled upon this beast. They described it as having the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant bulldog, a thick, scaly body, and a long, spiky tail. Oh, and did I mention the giant claws? People were terrified, newspapers ate it up, and suddenly everyone and their brother was claiming to have seen the Hodag. Well, a guy named Eugene Shepard claimed to have captured one, but spoiler alert, it turned out to be a hoax. Still, the legend of the Hodag lives on in Wisconsin. Wyoming, the cowboy state, home to Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, and a ghost ship sailing down the Platte River. This legend tells of a ghostly ship that appears on the Platte River, often shrouded in mist with glowing lights and mournful cries. According to the stories, the ship is crewed by spirits of those who died in a terrible shipwreck. Some say the ship appears during times of great sorrow or impending disaster. The legend of the Platte River Ship of Death remains a chilling reminder that some secrets refuse to stay buried. Well, there you have it. 50 states, 50 urban legends, and a whole lot of creepy crawlies, spooky specters, and just plain bizarre creatures. We've traveled from haunted forests to cursed cemeteries, from mysterious mountains to eerie swamps, all in search of the truth behind these terrifying tales. Thanks for coming along for the ride, you brave souls. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next creepy adventure. And hey, if you've got any spooky stories from your neck of the woods, drop them in the comments below. You never know, we might just feature them in a future video. Until next time, sleep tight, and don't let the Hodag